So I want to talk a little bit about my use of cannabis and how things have abruptly changed within the last week for me. So just to say right off, I've been smoking weed every single day, every few hours for the past 9 years. And, obviously not including sleeping, but in waking, every single day, every few hours. And years ago, back when I was like 16, I think, there was a 9-month period I got on probation, couldn't smoke weed. And then after that, I went right back to it. And that was the only pause. And I've been smoking nonstop ever since. And it, completely is a part of my life and what I do and, my personality, who I think I am. A stoner, someone that smokes weed every day, someone that loves and appreciates and honors the experience of cannabis. But this video, I'm going to be talking about how I recently, I think it was like 4 days ago or so, I'm not sure, I traveled to a different place where cannabis isn't legal, nor did I have access to it, nor did I even really want to try to do it while I was there. And I was there for 3 days, so I didn't smoke weed for 3 days. While I was there, I was like, it's fine, this isn't a big deal. I know cannabis doesn't have a sort of physical withdrawal, detrimental effect when you stop using it, like hard drugs or even caffeine and nicotine, things like that do. I didn't feel anything physical besides it wasn't physical, it was mental. It was like, it'd be nice to smoke right now. So I got home, settled back in, and tried to pick up right where I left off, the kind of, the person I was when I left. I tried to return back to that. Hold on. Get across this little river. And I took one hit. I took one bong rip. This was like 3 days ago or something. 4 days, I don't know. I took one bong rip. And I proceeded to have a psychedelically intense experience. I took the hit and I coughed for a little bit, you know how it is, and then felt the sort of heat, a little bit of heat in my body, and the pressure on the sides of my head and in the top of my head. The typical things that I usually associate with being high on weed is just that kind of glowiness, you know what I mean? But I felt that, and then in the very, 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 very same way that psychedelics creep their way into your thinking mind, I began to realize I am fucking tripping out right now. My mind began to magnify. My mind began to expand and open, and things seemed like very, 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 very trippy. And I started to have anxiety, rising fear, very much so the same with psychedelics. And I'm sitting there in meditation, kind of like forced into meditation now that this experience is getting so intense. And I'm doing deep breathing, and the entire time I'm going, holy fuck, dude, this is different. This is crazy. This is so intense. And it put me in my place. I had to call upon the most fundamental teachings and wisdoms that usually are just an idea in our head, but when we're put in this position where we're scared or things are intense, or, you know, in other situations, if you're sad or angry or whatever it is, I was in a position where it's like, oh my God, okay, the ego's freaking out. This is like ego death. This is like, you know, it's 1 a.m. and I took a hit of weed and I'm about to freak out. You know what I mean? Like, that was wild. That was wild. And I had such a profound and moving experience of sitting in meditation for at least, you know, an hour, doing deep breathing and being the breath, because the mind was dissolving. The mind was dissolving, and I was seeing, okay, I'm an idea. Who I think I am is an idea. Who I felt like I was before I took this hit is an idea. And now I feel like a dream. Now I feel fake. Now I feel the same feelings I feel when I've had ego death on psychedelics. And, you know, I'm not hallucinating. But my entire mental conscious experience, the mental experience of me and my mind, was completely falling apart. And yeah, I had to return to the breath, return to what I actually am here, this body, this breath, not the idea of the body or the idea of the breath or the idea of who I think I am, because that's what completely falls apart on psychedelics and apparently now on weed for me. So yeah, that was that one experience, like 4 days ago or 2 days ago, or like I said, I don't know. And just yesterday, you know, I had that experience and then I didn't smoke for a whole day because I was just so like, holy shit, like I'm not gonna take a hit like I used to and put myself back in that fucking state, you know what I mean? Like, I don't just go and do psychedelics every day, so why would I smoke weed to put myself in this state just to try and get back to how I used to be, you know what I mean? So I didn't smoke the whole day after that first experience. And then the next day, which was yesterday, at a little later on in the evening type time, I decided, you know what? Because here's the thing. It's a habit to smoke weed. It's a habit to load up the bong and hit it, you know? That's a physical and even a mental, it's a mental arising of like, go take a hit. And now, anytime that came up, I was like, are you sure you want to do that? You know what I mean? And I didn't, but the arising, take a hit, just out of habit, kept arising. So maybe that was sort of what prompted me to smoke yesterday. But moreover, the reason I smoked yesterday was because I told myself, okay, I'm gonna smoke a little bit of weed and go out on a walk in the woods. Maybe I should sit down somewhere. I'm gonna smoke a little bit of weed and go out on a walk in the woods. And if I experience the very same psychedelic-like, you know, profundity, insanity, chaos, power, energy, whatever, then I know that this is how cannabis should be used. Can't I, you know, like, if I get this same experience doing smoking again as I did the other night, I'm not going back to doing it constantly every day. So I smoked a little bit of weed, and you know, if you've ever had that feeling where like you take a dose of psychedelics or whatever, really. And then you start thinking to yourself, oh, I didn't take enough. Nothing's going to happen. I'm going to be like underwhelmed with the effects. That's what I was thinking. So I came back upstairs and smoked a little bit more and then went out on my walk. The first hit I took kind of, you know, I took the hit and went outside and I was starting to feel it. And that's when I was like, maybe I need a little bit more. What I was starting to feel felt kind of familiar to how it always used to be for me. I felt just I felt loose, chill, a sort of glowy, floaty, physical euphoria. If you have any sort of tolerance to cannabis or use cannabis, you know what I'm talking about. Just being high, I kind of felt that, like, oh, this is nice. Maybe I'm not gonna trip out this time. I kind of wanted to. That's the thing. I kind of wanted to get that fucking craziness. That's why I was doing it. And then I took that little bit more and carried on with my walk. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down right up here. And I went out and walked out in the woods. And I started tripping out again. As I'm walking out into the woods, you know, I'm walking through the field to the woods, and I'm starting to feel the glowy, like, spacey dreamlikeness of my mind. And I'm going, okay, it's happening again, you know what I mean? It's starting to erode the mind. And, you know, I gave into it. I said, I wanted to do this. I wanted to see if this is what it was going to do. So let's be here for it. Let's be present for it. Let's experience it and really be with it. And the experience of it is very hard to describe. Same with psychedelics. Time was fucked. Time was gone. In one moment, I'm out in the field, and I'm feeling my mind turning to jelly. And then the next moment, I'm standing in the woods, looking out at the sun going down, and I'm like high as fuck. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's happening again. I am high as shit. And I'm breathing, deep breathing, because I don't know if it's just me or what, but the psychedelic state, there's just this type of energy in certain drug experiences, now including cannabis. It used to just be psychedelics for me, but now it's cannabis. It induces this feeling of, like, you could just simply call it anxiety or panic, but to me, it's the ego like falling apart. It's the ego realizing it doesn't have control, and it's not. The idea that you think you are is just that. And here you are, feeling all these feelings because you think you're this idea. But the experience that's invoked is so energetically powerful that it makes the little thought-based me that I think I am wig out. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, resort to breath, go back to the breathing, be who you really are. It makes the ego fall apart. And this was happening last night on that hit. And, you know, it wasn't like I forgot who I was or all those weird far out things you can hear people talk about on psychedelics. But I was tripping out, everybody. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And like I said, time was gone. I was standing in the woods, and then suddenly I'm walking, and then suddenly I'm out on this road out behind my house, just walking, and it's like, what the fuck is going on right now? I feel like I'm in a dream, you know? Keep it together. Be here now. And I went and sat out on this little thing that overlooks a cliff and a pond, and I just was in complete awe at the power that cannabis suddenly has on me. And, yeah, it has completely shifted my outlook on cannabis. And not only that, but how it is for me. If I were to smoke right now, I mean, yeah, I probably would get right back into that exalted, contemplative, egoically disoriented, psychedelic state. And, I've realized something. I've realized that's how I want it to be. That's how cannabis, if I can smoke cannabis and experience psychedelic states and contemplation and egoic breakdown and be there and experience that's fucking wild. I used to smoke this shit every day, and it was like it was nothing special anymore. And then 3 days of not doing it, and then I come back and try to get right back to it, and it knocks me right off my rocker like a psychedelic would. It's entirely different now, and I feel like I can relate and understand those people, all those people that are around me going, holy shit, you smoke weed every day? How do you do that? Like, I get so high, weed gives me anxiety. And it's like, oh my God, like, I see what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. I personally just haven't had that in years. The last time I remember any sort of craziness happening on weed was when I ate an edible. And that's just typical, Edibles create a different type of THC that is just known to last longer and be more psychedelic and trippy and mess with your mind. But smoked cannabis has never, ever been like this. And now it's like I can count on it. Like, if I smoke a little bit of weed for the next 2 hours or so, I am completely in this trippy state where I'm better off to be like out here meditating than like eating food or playing video games or watching videos like I used to when I'd smoke weed, because that was just like what I did, you know what I mean? And the feeling of when I do it, and now I'm pulled inward. I'm pulled inward because it's like, this is the ego death stuff. It feels weird to do the stuff I usually do. Like, I smoke a little bit and I get so high, and now it's like, shit, I want to like distract myself by watching a video or playing my video game or something. Give me something to get away from how crazy this feels. That is the psychedelic spirit, really. That is what makes us let go and reveals ourselves to ourselves, is you're trying to get away from it, but you can't because it's a state that's induced in you, of you. It's all of you in that state. And the best thing you can do is just sit, breathe, and notice the mind, Don't think, don't be the thinker like we think we are. But see that there are thoughts, all these crazy, crazy, crazy thoughts, just in regards to this cannabis experience, Very, very, very far out. And I feel like a lot of you could be like, yeah, exactly. That's what cannabis is like. I can't believe you were doing it every day. You know what I mean? Or how this is the more beneficial way to use cannabis. I absolutely agree. I don't know what it was that I got myself into of doing it constantly, and it's just a tolerance. You get addicted to smoking this thing all the time, and eventually, you get addicted to it at first because you get high, and it's so bizarre and awesome and euphoric and trippy, and then you do it all the time, and then you're used to it, and now you're just smoking every day, and nothing's really happening. And maybe a little bit happens because I'd smoke. There's a reason I'm smoking, and it's because it would induce this feeling and this kind of floatiness, but that became just my normal state, and it would never progress past that. But guys, what I experienced on these last 2 cannabis experiences was like, it told me, like, weed is very, 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 very powerful, and it shifted how I want to use it. It shifted the rate at which I want to use it, you know? Imagine it's like getting a tolerance to acid or getting a tolerance to DMT to the degree that you just do it every day and nothing's happening, really. It's just, oh, this is normal. Do you really think that's the way to use substances, you know? I never really considered it because it's like, oh, it's just weed. It's just a very subtle, chill, calm, not super spiritual plant medicine. It's just this kind of state. But yeah, I experienced crazy shit on those 2 experiences. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experiences. And I wanted to share that with you all, that, yeah, weed is really fucking powerful. Weed is very strong. Maybe it was just the strain I smoked, because I smoked the same stuff each time. But something in me just tells me it's how weed is for me with no tolerance, with a little tolerance. And it's like, I kind of prefer that. You know? And if I wanted to get back to how I used to be, where I'm smoking every single day regularly, I would have to destroy that tolerance by getting high out of my fucking mind every day. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself through that just for the mere purpose of getting back to being able to smoke every day. If anything, I want to let my tolerance continue to go down, and when the habitual let's smoke comes up, hold it off, and then go, okay, you want to smoke a little bit? Let's smoke. And then smoke and see how it's this fucking insane experience, you know, for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, every other time from here out, you know, supposedly. And go, okay, this is how cannabis can be. And it just seems a lot more of use, a lot more beneficial. You know, and if you're somebody that was like me and what I was describing in the beginning of this video, like you just smoke weed constantly and it's not really a big deal anymore, it might be hard for you, but try going 2, 3, 4 days not smoking and then go right back to it and try to go back to how you used to be. I dare you. Who knows? Maybe it's just where I'm at now and how cannabis is for me with no tolerance, you know? But yeah, it's like I genuinely understand the statement people make of, take a tolerance break, man, you won't regret it. You know what I mean? They ain't lying. They are not lying. You will get very fucking high. So high, you know, I did so high that it completely made me want to use it in a different way. But yeah, I feel like I'm starting to go in loops now. I just wanted to share with you all that my daily use of cannabis has fallen apart and transformed into this completely different thing of cannabis is now right up there with psychedelics, LSD, DMT, mushrooms, and it's exciting to know that there's another member to the group. Something I've done so much, but now because I took this little break, something shifted, and now it is profound, spiritual, ego dissolving. Very beautiful, very beautiful. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you found this interesting, or I hope it, if you're somebody that smokes every day, maybe it inspired you to take a little tolerance break, just about how exaggerated I am about this, because it really, really, really is mind-blowing, guys, how strong weed is and can be. You know, you hear adults say, oh, weed is so much stronger these days than it used to be. I can't smoke anymore. Once again, I don't blame them, and I can relate to them now, because the shit's strong. The shit gets to you. The shit is it's a spirit, you know? It's very, very, very beautiful. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Go take your bong rip. Don't take your bong rip, whatever it is. And I will be back with more. I'll see you guys later.